trains. What about the horses? Yeah, we're talking about those horses today. These guys or these horses. They can get you out of some of those gambling debts, guys. And with that, guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Fun with Hell. Please like and subscribe. Hope you all enjoy the Denver Broncos 2026 roster grades. This is going to be a very fun one. This Broncos team is coming off of a #1 seed in the AFC, the best overall record, tie with the Seahawks, I guess, in the NFL. And the biggest thing with this team is they actually were good. Yeah, I know, it's crazy to think about. But, yeah, Broncos, it was their first playoff berth since, or I guess their second playoff berth since Manning won the Super Bowl. They won their first playoff game since that Super Bowl year as well. And this Broncos team has been cursed with bad quarterbacks for a while now. Bo Nix, is he the guy? We'll figure that out in a second. But, yes, obviously a brutal end of the season for the Broncos last year in that AFC Championship. Again, the snow was one thing, but again, having Jarrett Stidham start that, and then obviously the injury to Bo Nix, him snapping his ankle. He should be good to start this season, thank God. But anyways, if you guys have not watched previous roster grades, I do go recommend watching the second timestamp of the Jacksonville Jaguars roster grades. That'll give you guys everything you need to know on how this process works. With that said, let's try to be a little more locked in than the Eagles won. And yeah, here's Denver Broncos. Okay, quarterback situation, again, it's kind of weird. I don't want to start out talking about Bo Nix. We'll start out with who they got as their third stringer, at least for now. That's Sam Ehlinger. This is a guy that actually started back in 2022 for the Colts. He was honestly not too awful. He took 14 sacks in 3 starts. So, I mean, take with what you, what you will. But, yeah, he honestly wasn't too bad. He threw the ball downfield a little bit. But other than that, he really hasn't played at all. So, I mean, I can't really tell you much other than that. I remember him in Texas. He had an absolute freaking noodle arm. And, I mean, he was good for them, but obviously that team wasn't too successful. So that's what you have going on there with Sam Ehlinger. You have Jarrett Stidham, who's been a backup for a long time now. He obviously had kind of a peculiar start. He didn't start games in neither 2024 or 2025. Literally didn't throw a pass. That 2023 season, he started the last 3 games, or last 2 games after Russ got benched. Man, guys, Russ is freaking retired. He's going to be a casual analyst at CBS now. Like, what are we doing, bro? But anyways, yeah, he obviously started those 2 games back in 2023. Again, the game against the Chargers, which they won, what was it? 16 to 19, 9. What the heck was the score? I think so. And then he started the Week 18 game. That game kind of sucked in that game. I already talked about this back during the AFC Championship preview, so if you really care that much, go ahead and go watch that. But yeah, again, he obviously didn't have the greatest game in that in the AFC Championship. But again, what were you gonna really expect? I mean, again, it wasn't terrible, but with the weather and all, he had that really nice touchdown early in the game, and then kind of faded after that. But, yeah, again, I wasn't expecting too much out of him. So, good though, for Jarrett Stidham getting out there and showing he could do something. But, obviously, without Bo Nix, they kind of were cooked. Now we go to Bo Nix, who's their actual starting quarterback. Bo Nix is a guy that you look at who isn't really physically imposing really anyway. Obviously, doesn't have the greatest of arm. He's very aggressive downfield, though. The biggest thing with Bo Nix the past few years is the fact that he honestly has limited mistakes. Yes, downfield, he's thrown picks. We knew that was. I wouldn't say we knew that was going to happen going to the league, but when you look at how he's played the first few years, it's been a lot of calculated aggression. I think Sean Payton kind of putting that into him was a really good idea because this offense, while it wasn't as, I'd probably say as explosive as it was in 2024, was a lot more consistently making strides downfield. The EPA per play was a lot higher. And just overall, that was the biggest noticeable difference you saw with him. On top of the fact that, again, he is a guy that just hasn't taken sacks so far in his career. He is very, very good at scrambling. Rookie season was a lot more of that was his game. 2025, kind of the similar thing. I also think you read it out, defense is a lot better, so that's a good thing. But he's not going to take sacks because he's got very, very good escapability. We know that. He improvs so well. So, Bo Nix, that escapability is something that is going to be his trademark. That's kind of his elite trait. How much of we're going to see that in this year, we'll see. But he's been winning games. He's this team's quarterback. The complete stretch is a little bit low, I understand that. But again, he is a guy who's going to throw the ball downfield, so keep that in mind. But for a guy who doesn't really have that strong an arm, I mean, give it to Bo Nix, bro. He's getting it done. He just is. And for that reason, at quarterback, you look at what's going on here. I got to give him a B. You could argue it's even a B+, but again, you look at it like Jalen Hurts, that would be kind of outrageous to say he was better than Jalen Hurts. But hey, they're pretty damn close. Bo Nix is a really good quarterback, though. I want to give him a B+, but it seems like a little bit of a overstep, I'd probably say. But yeah, he's definitely top half of the league quarterback. B+, this is tough. Yeah, I'll give him B+. Screw it. He's better than Jalen Hurts. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but 45 points, though. B+ for the quarterback position. Here for the Broncos. Now let's get into the skill positions, which, again, saw a massive overhaul this offseason. And while I did say massive overhaul, they really only made one move, which we'll get to in a little bit. But again, we'll start at the running back position here for the Broncos, and it's interesting. Jacob Dobbins, again, is their number one dude. Last year he got injured, as you, again, probably expected him. Obviously, like a torn ACL, something like that. Jacob Dobbins has legitimately had one, like, I guess 2 healthy seasons of his career. In both those years, he was, like, really good. He literally, he literally had basically 5 yards per carry in every single season he's played. Rookie season, he went off. Still had some injury issues, but yeah, he went off as a rookie. 2022, he tore his Achilles. 2023, he tore his ACL. 2024, he again still was injured at times, but he at least had nearly 200 carries, again at least 200 touches. And then obviously last year he tore his ACL. He was having a really good season. J.A. Dobbins is the guy you look at. Again, the scar tissue in his knee is still very noticeable, but it's not as big of an issue as we saw honestly back in that 2022 season. We're being completely honest. That's kind of where it showed up. Yeah, because 2021 he tore his ACL. What the hell is going on with J.K. Dobbins, guys? He can't stay healthy. We know that he's 27 now. Still very explosive back though. He's a bowling ball. That's the biggest thing with him, but. He'll be the primary runner this year. R.J. Harvey, very good receiving back. Last year, still had 540 yards rushing. The biggest problem with me is the fact that he is not a guy that consistently hits holes the way you want him to. And it's not really because his vision's bad. I think his overall decisiveness as a back and kind of confidence just isn't really always there. And when that's the case, it's very, very hard for me to buy into his overall game, despite the fact you look at him as a receiver, again, 47, 356, 5 touchdowns. Like, that's huge. And again, he's also a good run blocker. It's just the fact that, again, it's kind of hard for me to really buy into R.J. Harvey, despite his explosive play ability, because of the fact that he is a very hesitant, very patient runner, which isn't a bad thing, but for him to be again, I won't say the number one guy, but a guy you can consistently give the ball to, it's kind of hard to see that when these inconsistencies are so common. Then you also have Jonah Coleman. He's out of what the hell is his name? Freaking Washington. This is a dude that he's again similar to a guy like Jacob Dobbins being a bowling ball, but I think he's a little bit more of a compact back that is not going to again give you the run the injury risk, and also kind of gives you that change of pace that you won't get with a guy like R.J. Harvey. So that's a good thing to note. But for Jonah overall, he's still got that struggles to read defenses out really consistently at all, and his blocking recognition is also an issue. But still, Jonah Coleman's a guy that will probably be used pretty consistently in this offense again, assuming the injury. You also have Julian McLaughlin, who just hasn't really been a strong runner the past few years. As a rookie, I really like what I saw. I guess 2024 is pretty good too, but this is just a guy, again, he obviously said the injury issues, but again, he's just kind of a scrub, let's be honest. He's 5'7", guys. Like, let's hold the horses there. Good pun. Anyways, a running back, I'm going to give them a B-. Again, you look at R.J. Harvey, he's going to be a good player for you either way. Jonah Coleman's decent. Jacob Dobbins on that field, he's an above-average running back, but he can't stay healthy. So, so I'll give it a C+. I really like the R.J. Harvey coming out of the draft. Last year's running, he just wasn't really that great, so that's just the biggest thing with me here. And again, the fact that Jacob Dobbins can't stay healthy is just kind of, I'm over it here. I'd want to give them a B-. Again, it's just not a very reliable running back room at the end of the day, and that's why I have to give him a C+ instead of a B-. Like, again, when you have a guy like R.J. Harvey who ran the ball like Alvin Kamara did last year, and I just saying something with how bad he was last year, it's just kind of hard for me to show. Like, Alvin Kamara's stats last year. Like, he was legitimately atrocious. Like, that's what you got out of him last year. 2024 is the best rushing year of his career. We'll get to him in the future. But anyways, again, it's just not something I really want to deal with. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. All right, moving to this receiving core. This is a group that is very, what the heck? We'll say this group is a lot more better, or not better, in a lot better spot than it was in this offseason, of course, with the trade for Jalen Waddle. We'll start with Courtland Sutton, though. Courtland Sutton, I guess, is their number one guy. Last year, he had another 1,000-yard receiving season. He's always been a good red zone threat, at least the past, we'll say, for 3 years, I guess, is where he's emerged here. But again, the basic with him is that he is an X receiver that doesn't create a ton of separation, but still is a guy that's a big-time contestant catch guy. And at the end of the day, over the middle of the field, he's being a very reliable target. Is he a true number one guy? Probably not. But has he been this team's consistent player for the past, 5 years? Absolutely. Again, after that torn ACL in 2020, after that breakout or the career high 2019 season, he had back to three straight back-to-back very consistent 21, 22. Then 2023, he wasn't again their true number one guy, but he's still very, very good. In the past years, he's kind of emerged as that go-to option. So good for Courtland Sutton. He's a very fun guy to watch. Then you have Jalen Waddle, who's by far the most talented guy in the receiving core. He had 910 yards last year in a very kind of targeted role last year with what was going on, but again, he hasn't had a big-time season since 2023, to be fair. 2024, he was just kind of an off year. Last year, they got a lot back to more of those deep threat routes. And just overall, he was, again, a lot quicker in terms of these over-the-middle in-breakers. And just stuff like that is stuff you need to see out of him. I would like to see him get back to a 1,000-yard season, but again, Jalen Waddle is a very good player either way. This is a huge addition for them. That was kind of a difference-making move for them. Then you have Troy Franklin, who, again, I was shocked to see had 700 yards last year, and honestly, his route tree kind of reflected it. A lot of his routes were kind of centered on him being able to break off of a curl route and kind of create stuff like that. Also, a lot of the route breakers ran, especially again these out routes that were kind of like again stamped up the seam and got out, were very effective. So keeping to that game plan, he's gonna be a really true variance, not true, very good. He could be a legitimate option, but again the hands are still a little bit questionable, so keep that in mind. But yeah, he honestly had a very solid year that I kind of forgot about there. Then you Pat Bryant. Biggest thing with him is that while he adjusted really well on a lot of routes, again, the injury obviously is very concerning in week 16. Hopefully he's okay after that, but again, he's a guy that's going to adjust really well on these deep balls. But again, he's not going to be a consistent guy in terms of threatening the seam, or also being a guy you can really put in anything outside of a Z package, because again, his release is just simply not good enough. But Pat Bryant's a guy I want to see in the field a lot more, just because of the fact that he gives you a very rare ability to again catch the ball low. Really good coordination on top of the fact that you get the contested catch ability too. Marvin Mims, he actually had 300 yards last year. I would really like to see him more in a gadget role. Again, like they gave him 12 carries last year, sure, but again, they can kind of move him around, put him in this kind of versatile sort of role, and still give him these threatening routes down the field. They're definitely good things to watch off in motion. But obviously, he's a pure receiver. He's not the greatest. Lil Jordan Humphrey, I guess he was out there last year. I mean, he kind of did his thing, but he's obviously had better years for sure. For receiver though, I'm probably gonna give him a B+. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's in a really good spot. The problem for me is that I don't think we'll give it an A-. You know what? It's tough for me to say because I don't. Again, no one really thinks of Courtland Sutton as this like elite receiver. Jalen Waddle isn't that either, but again, it's still a really good 1-2 punch. Like it is. It's just true. And like Troy Franklin's way better than I think people like even I would really admit last year. Again, the tape wasn't my favorite, but still, he was productive. And like Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, those are both guys. So like. Maybe I'm a little bit overreaching with an A-. Am I? Let me think about this. What do we give the Eagles? I think I give them an A. And like Jalen Waddle, he's going to be better than McConnell Limit. So this is tough. For me, I'm going to say an A-. You could argue it's a B+, but I got to give him it. Like it's a good receiving core. I think yeah, it's definitely an underrated group too. So I don't want to go too gung-ho about this, but I think I'm going to be kind of in the middle on again in terms of the actual opinions on that. So we're going to say 30 points, A- for the receiving core. Now we move to the tight end to wrap up this skill position group. It's honestly not a group that didn't really change at all. And I think the biggest thing you got to grapple is what is Evan Ingram in 2026? Because we know what he isn't. He's not this like big dynamic player that he was back in 2022, where he had again 766 yards, 70 catches. And in 2023, again, while he got 143 targets, he wasn't exactly as again big play oriented. Last year, again, definitely a step up from what we saw again after the not even the injury again. It was kind of just a step back overall. Biggest thing what we saw that Evan Ingram last year is that his yak total yardage and just effectiveness was definitely down a little bit. Still, his blocker, he's never been very good, so it's kind of like, what are you going to get with there? I don't think he's a starting caliber tight end, but I don't think that. I think the days of him being like a go-to guy are definitely over. Adam Trautman absolutely sucks. Like ass guys, I don't know what to tell you guys. He's trash. He's unathletic. He never really creates any sort of threat up the field, and I don't know. His hands suck. Like cool. You have Justin Jolly, he was taken out of NC State. This is definitely a guy that I think will definitely jump into that backup tight end role. His blocking's still a little bit raw to really see him, become that true backup. But again, he's way more capable of receiver than Adam Trautman. Even though, again, similarly, he's not a guy you want to be too scared about down the field. Then Nate Atkins, he's basically a fullback. Adam Prentice is a really good lead blocker, though, so good for those dudes. From this tight end room, though, is going to be probably a C+. It's honestly not my favorite group, but again, at least there's something there. And again, obviously, we've seen a lot of good seasons at Evan Ingram in the past. Now we're going to look at this offensive line before the overall grade ends up working out. Again, obviously, Garrett Bowles, their left tackle. Ever since that 2019 debacle, he has been an absolute monster. Garrett Bowles is just an absolute beast. I don't even know how to put it. He's so good. While his length has never really been the best of the best, he takes on power better than really, again, very few guys are better than him. Again, he's also coming off the best year of his career. And just really as a run blocker, he's always been tenacious. That was what you saw coming out of the draft. Now he's, 34? Garrett Bowles he's something else. Matt Pert, former UConn guy, former Giant. He's actually evolved into a solid backup for them. Well, he always gets crossed up laterally. We're not even going to lie about that. His footwork is atrocious. He does a really good job, again, at being able to get low and make it very, very hard for these defensive linemen to kind of get any sort of leverage on him. And that's something it's really hard to find in a backup tackle. So good for him there. Ben Powers, kind of an average guard for me. He obviously had some struggles back in Baltimore his last year there. Also, he's just not a guy that I'm really too confident in coming into this year. But again, you look at him, he's still a guy, again, the past couple of years, he's been a solid blocker for them, especially, he is a blocker. But yeah, he's a decent player. Cage Gacy, this is a guy out of Boise State who I think, again, while he was projected as I was mentioning with Cage, he's just a guy that, again, very, very tenacious run blocker. He's going to be a guy that will create, like, a ton of vertical displacement, especially if we're talking about getting laterally as well. So, Cage Casey is going to be a very effective player in the league. It's just the fact that, again, as a pass blocker, there's a lot of issues with his first punch in terms of the accuracy of it. Alex Podolszek, he's actually played in the past, whatever, I can't pronounce his name. He always got absolutely dogged on, though. Luke Wanberg's a good center. Again, I think he's a little bit overrated. Some people really like his tape in terms of what we see in terms of his lateral movements. But he doesn't really stop power really that great at all. And I think that his overall technique as a run blocker is a little bit too flawed. It's kind of a hitch in his kind of like reaction. It's weird. But Luke's not a bad player at all. Luke Forsythe's solid backup center. There's not really much else stuck there. Michael Dieter, he's gotten thrown around in the past too. Quinn Minor's probably one of the best guards in football. He's very, very consistent. He's not really, again, anything crazy other than, again, being this elite run blocker. But, hey, he gets it done. Calvin Throckmorton, he's kind of not good. And then Frank Crumb's been on this team a while too. You look at, again, those two, just a lot of continuity in this backup. And then obviously Mike McGlinchey, he's a valuable guy because there's not a ton of right tackles that are, again, starting caliber guys, but he's still not a guy that really, again, it's kind of been there his entire career. He's not like that great. Still a good player though. For me though, this offensive line, the depth is very, again, a lot of continuity for sure. That's the biggest thing to talk about there. But for me, this O-line, again, still very, very good. I'll probably give them an A-. The reason it's not an A is because, again, you look at the interior, I'm still not getting too sold about it. Obviously, Garrett Bowles is elite, but Quinn Minors is elite. Michael Lynch is a solid tackle. Luke Monroe, like I said, is a little overrated, and then Ben Bowers is kind of just not that great. So I'm going to say an A-. You could argue it's an A, but it's obviously, it's a good group either way. But I'm going to say that. So 20 points. And if we added up for that all, offense is going to be a very solid 12, 30, and then if we had 12, and 20, that's going to give them 119 points for this offense. That'll put them in the B tier, which is where they belong. The biggest thing with this offense is the fact that I think there's really no hole. It's just the fact that, again, a running back and tight end, you don't really get this, like, surefire, like, you know what's going to happen here. The receiver, again, getting Jalen Waddle is just absolutely massive. But, again, still, it's like, we'll see. O-line's definitely a huge strength of theirs, though. You could argue it's A tier. I got to give it an A-, though. It's just the fact, again, I'm not the biggest fan of Luke Wanberg. That's kind of what leans that. And, again, the depth is solid, though, which will definitely reflect it in this grade. But now we have to go through the defense before we can get to that. And we have another 3-4 defense, so we'll talk about these linebackers first as we get into this front seven. Again, if you didn't know, we do go through linebackers, then we go through the D-line, then we look at the edge rushers in terms of how this defense is structured. But yeah, a linebacker, this is kind of a group that's been around like the same time. They've been same tempo for a while now. Alex Singleton, he's basically known as his tackling machine. Again, after the torn ACL, it was a bad injury 2024. He kind of got back to things last year. He's always been a guy you look at as kind of an average guy in coverage. Again, in zone, he still has the instincts to kind of be able to react to plays well, but doesn't really have the flexibility nor the, I honestly think, personal confidence to be able to make those plays. But his tackling technique is nearly perfect. He's very similar to a guy like Floyd Lucan in terms of the play style. The biggest difference, though, is he's a guy that's a little bit more conservative in what he does, and it kind of works out. So Alex Singleton, very, very solid linebacker for y'all. Again, very solid season last year. Justin Strnad, former backup, he's a very, very dynamic blitzer. Again, Drew Sanders, we'll get to in a little bit, very similar here. Based with him is you need him in a sub role because if he's in any sort of role where he has to consistently take on blocks, it's going to be very, very hard for him to, be able to get rolling. In coverage, he's an absolute freaking moron. I'm not going to lie, he's really bad. But there's a reason you don't have him in those situations. In a lot of those flat zones where he doesn't know what to think about. Red Murdoch out of Buffalo. This guy, again, I think he was freaking Mr. Irrelevant. This dude's, he's got a good attitude. I'm not gonna lie, I just need to see how he plays. And then you also have, where is he? Drew Sanders, who again has had a kind of an unfortunate luck of injuries here the past 2 seasons. He just hasn't been able to play. As a rookie, I like what I saw, though. Again, the biggest thing with him coming out of Arkansas was the fact that he was a dynamic blitzer. We haven't really been able to see that with the injuries. Again, I really hope that nothing else happens because this has just been brutal for him. Again, prayers to Drew Sanders and him being healthy this season. But he's a guy that does have potential despite, obviously some of the struggles in terms of his play up to this point. And obviously the injury issues. For me, this linebacker core is kind of a mixed bag in a lot of ways. I'm probably going to give it a C+. You got a guy like Justin Strnad, who, in my opinion, is just not very reliable. Drew Sanders could be very good, but he hasn't played in 2 years. Red Murdoch, and then Alex Singleton is a pretty stable guy. But it's definitely, again, like I said, a mixed bag. So we're going to say 18 points at linebacker. Then moving to this defensive line, it's a group that obviously has some elite players, specifically Jack Allen. But we'll start with Malcolm Roach, who last year actually had 4 sacks. Biggest thing with him is he's a very stiff guy and a very hard guy to kind of get into the grill of because of the fact that he, again, has, I don't need to say stiff arm, he's just a freaking hard guy to knock into. Again, if you hit him in the wrong spot, he's going to get by you. The pressure rate was really high last year, though. It was really fun to see that. And as a run defender, he's very good at shedding off blocks. So, yeah, Malcolm Roach is a good player. Other than that, though, you have Tyler Onyanihime. He got out there a little bit. The biggest thing to talk about him is the fact that he is a guy look at out of A&M who I think could give them something in terms of pass rush, but more likely you're going to see him be more of a I'm going to beat you into the interior and make it really hard for your back to kind of beat us there. So, not the greatest outlook, but at least there's something there. DJ Jones, he's been a really solid defensive tackle of this team for a couple years now. The biggest thing with him is that he is not a guy you're going to look at to be giving you anything more than really good initial pressure, and then sometimes converts that into an actual well-rounded play in terms of against a double team. But other than that, it's usually not anything more than that. And obviously, Uzowari, he's going to get on the field a little bit. I forgot about that. 3.5 sacks for sure, I guess, sure. But the biggest thing with him is the fact that he is going to be a very consistent guy in terms of being able to make tackles as a run defender. He's a rotational guy, but really good. You also have Zach Allen, who's one of the best defensive tackles in football. Only had 38 total tackles last year and kind of was down in terms of, again, really the overall effectiveness. He's still a guy that gave you elite pressure rate from the interior. And, again, ever since he's turned away from the Cardinals, he has been a really freaking good player for this team. Again, Zach Allen's a very good player. Savion Jones, I'm not going to lie, guys. He's a 3-tech. There's not really much else to say, and even then, he's just not that awesome. So, yeah. D-line, though, I'm probably going to give an A. No, I'll give it an A-. It's a good group. The only thing is, again, is DJ Jones and Malcolm Butcher, are they better than... it's hard to say. There's a lot of depth here, though. So, I think, yeah, I'm going to say an A-. I like what's going on there. 6, 12, 18, 20 points. A lot of depth. We're going to stick with that. Now for the pass rush, you obviously have an elite guy off the edge, Nick Benito. He has a multifaceted tool set. He's obviously second in sacks last year, 5th, my bad, 14. He has had back-to-back very consistent seasons. Biggest with him, though, is the fact that he has just elite bend, and it's very, very hard to beat him with power as well, because he's got to just completely combat that really well. So the counter moves are kind of a big part of his game. But yeah, Nick Benito has been one of the more consistent guys in the league with the pass rush, despite the fact that as a run defender, he's kind of been a little bit below average. But yeah, Nick Benito is an elite edge rusher, and he will probably continue to be like that as well. Again, a lot of these good guys in the AFC West. Then you also have Jonathan Cooper on the other side, who is very good with his wife. Yeah, he's been a beast the past 3 years. There's nothing that particularly stands out about his pass rush plan. It's just the fact that he's a guy that consistently hits his spots and just has elite, and I mean elite bend. Again, very versatile player, guys. Like, Jonathan Cooper is someone to watch out there. I'm just not going to lie to you. Dondre Tillman, he's another guy that's going to get solid pressure. I still think that 2024 season a little bit of an outlier. Last year, though, got in a lot more of a full-time role. Much better against the run, so we'll see how that works out. And even Jonah Ellis. Well, he didn't have the 5-sack season yet in 2024. Still getting pressure. Again, Denver, they just got a bunch of guys that can do their thing. Q Robinson, again, similar thing. Again, like, injury issues, too. I think Q's going to be a good player, though. He could definitely slot in that 4th role. I don't even know. Did Johnny Walker get out there? No, he didn't. But yeah, anyways. For me, this pass rush is really good. It's obviously going to get a lot of pressure. It's going to be an A. I think, they led the sacks, like, the past 2 years? Again, there's a reason for that. 44 points. Now for the secondary. And for this secondary of the Broncos, it really didn't change at all from last year. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Again, it's literally the exact same group. Pat Surtain, he's the best cornerback in football. There's really nothing else to say there. Again, if you throw it at him, you're going to probably get absolutely embarrassed. But anyways, yeah, he's the best cornerback in football. Probably the best secondary or DB in football. Riley Moss, he improved a little bit from last year. Biggest thing was that his tackling rate definitely went up a little bit. And in coverage, he gave a lot less separation on those deeper routes. Honestly, he's a guy, despite, again, getting targeted a crap ton because he crossed from Pat Surtain, still is a very viable starting corner. Christian Aiden from Drain, he played a little bit last year. Honestly, nothing really too special about him. He gets beat consistently, but, it's okay. Reese Taylor, not great in zone. That's what I'll say on him. So, again, not great depth. And then Jaquan McMillan in the slot, who had the best year since that 2023 breakout season. When you look at Jaquan McMillan last year, again, obviously the pick 6 to end the season stood out, but he just got back that confidence and really in coverage. It was very, very hard to fit the balls in over the middle against him, which was a big issue with his 2024 season. So good for Jaquan in making that change. And then also Jahad Barron, who obviously had a pretty frustrating rookie season. At some point, he'll take over in the slot or not. Maybe they just throw him on the boundary and make it happen. But his press coverage, honestly, was really good last year. Is the fact that, again, his instincts are definitely a little bit worse, and I think he was a little bit hesitant in some of these kind of wider packages, which is something he's definitely going to have to improve on going into next year. But again, for the injury issues, Jada had kind of a little more of a disappointing rookie season. For me, though, this quarterback room is going to get an A. It's just too good. Like, again, when you're the best quarterback in football, you're probably going to get that anyway. So, what is it, 22 points. Then move to safety. This group really isn't like too insane. Obviously, Talanoa Funga is a very good player. In coverage, he's just kind of below average for me, but he's an absolute go-getter against the run. And just overall, again, you look at this guy, he's making a lot of plays for you. That's just what it is at the end of the day. And he's kind of slowed down after that injury in 2023, the 2023 injury, but still, Talanoa threw in a really good season, so good for him with that. And you also have J.L. Skinner, who's a solid backup. Really, he's more of a linebacker than anything. Devon Key's not bad either. Again, in coverage, you look at him as more of a rangy guy over the middle of the field, but he can also get to the boundary pretty well too. Brandon Jones is starting free safety. He's kind of a very boring. He's probably one of the more boring guys in the league here. He doesn't particularly do great in terms of making tackles in the open field, but the fact that he's very, very patient is a huge help. On top of the fact that he's very conservative. So Brandon Jones is a very solid player. Last year was a lot more in the box. This year, you're definitely probably expect him a little bit kind of all over the place with telling if I can get in there more consistently. So you're two with those dudes, but you look at the safety room, it's probably gonna be a B+. Not really too many concerns about it. The depth is not great, but again, continuity and all that. So that's gonna be what, 24 points. And if we add that up, right, wait, yeah, wait, yeah, alright, we got that. 18 plus 20 plus 44 plus 22, Brett, plus, what was it, 22, 24, that's going to be 128 points for this defense. That will put them in the B tier, honestly, where they belong to. This defense has just got a bunch of studs. The only issue I have is, again, the linebackers are just kind of a mess. If that was better, you know, they'd be definitely higher. Okay, now in the Denver special teams unit, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't really like it at all. Will Lutz, last year's kicker, honestly, was pretty damn good. Again, he's obviously bounced around a little bit. Again, after that 2020 years of the Saints. No, I'm joking. He hasn't. He's been on this team the past 3 years, and he's been very good. But anyway, you look at Jeremy Crowshaw. He's just kind of there as a punter. I mean, he's better than we got looked at Brady Mann last time. He's better than him, so that's good. Robert Mims, again, really good punter. Our kick returner hasn't done a ton. I'm joking. He's a good returner too. And Mitchell Fraboni, from what I've heard, is a decent long snapper, but again, I'm not looking out those guys too crazy. For me, the special teams unit is going to get a C+, though. I don't know. No, there's not any particular reason for it. I just don't think the operation has been as clean as I think it could be. Now we move to the depth of this team. Quarterback depth, I'd probably give a C. Running back depth, I'd probably also give a C. We'll say a C+. So we'll say we're at a C+ so far. Receiver depth, I'd probably give a B. Yeah, I'll say a C+. We're just going to say we're chilling C+. Tight end depth, I'd probably give it a C, so we're just going to say a C then. O-line depth, I'd probably give a A-, so we're probably up to I'm going to say a B- then. D-line depth, it's kind of a weird group, but I'll probably say a B-ish. Yeah, we'll say a B. So we'll just say we're at a B- there. Edge rusher depth, I'd probably give a B+, maybe an A. Yeah, we'll say an A-, which is probably moved up to a B. Linebacker depth is probably a C-. Yeah, so C-. We're probably going to say we're down to a B-. Cornerback and safety depth, I think are probably already mishmashes. But we're going to say a B- though, for the overall depth. Secondary depth is a little bit all over the place, but again, look at this roster whole. There's not really a single position where I'm like, it could be better. But yeah, obviously isn't great overall. So, or it's pretty decent overall. So yeah, 28 points for the depth. Now for the identity of this football team, you look at how the year ended last year, kind of sucks. You're like, that team could have been in the Super Bowl. They were so close. This year, I think I'm in a little bit of a weird spot here because I just don't know exactly where they're going to be. But honestly, again, I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay. So, say 35 points for the depth. If we added that up for their entire grade, 628, 35, 128 are the identity, my bad. Then what, 119. We're going to get 316 points to this Broncos roster. That's going to put them in the B+ tier, which is probably where they belong. Really solid roster overall, guys, to be honest with you. Again, the identity kind of issue for me, it comes from the fact that, again, I just don't think they're going to make the 1 seed this year. Just not going to happen. They had I wouldn't say a lucky year. They had a good year, and it really helped that a lot. So, that's huge. But you look at this roster, there's definitely some positions that are a little bit more questionable than others. And just questions overall on this roster, I think, are definitely a little bit more worth addressing than some other teams. But other than that, guys, this is a really solid Broncos roster. Probably the most solid they've had in a long time, so good for them there. Hopefully they lead the sacks once again. The league in sacks once again. That's all I have for y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, see you for the next one.
Walker able to reverse his field. Walker inside the 10, barreling over tacklers. Walker dances his way for the touchdown.
He hit the thriller. This play is supposed to go here no matter what. When he cuts back, he is completely on his own. And watch him make 1, 2, 3 guys miss on his own, on his way to the end zone, and then hit the thriller.